What is going on? What is going on? Tech Thursday, Cleveland Terry show. Hopefully this will be a faster show today because I got some stuff to do. I got some videos to continue to edit, and I'm in and out today. I am in and out today. This is actually, I have a couple of meetings today, but nothing crazy. And I got to go grab my glasses in a second. A couple of meetings, nothing crazy, but still, I'm waiting for the moment when I don't. Just a couple of days where I don't do anything. You know what I mean? Like right now, I do need my phone. Right now, I'm in between. I'm in between, working and not working. We go into our kind of our dead season. We have 1 month of dead season, which typically falls like, well, actually, usually it's like the third week of June, third week of June, till about the second week of August. And for whatever reason, this year, we have events up until the end of next week. We have 2 in July. Fortunately, I'm not going to be on them, but we have 2 in July, and then we start up like the first week of August. So it's I'm ready to just take a break. The good news is once I find my phone so I can turn on the rest of my lights, all of my meetings over the last week, Tuesday, Wednesday, now Thursday, all of my meetings have been West Coast burger chain. What does that even mean? All of my meetings have been sales meetings, not that all clients are important, but when you don't have any events coming up in the next month or two, I usually don't need to talk to clients. If I do, it's usually because they're adding something onto their contract. But in general, the only people I should be talking to right now into July are new clients. Because if we don't have any events, there's no reason to really talk to the clients. Now, of course, in July, it's going to beef up again because I have all my August events that are going to kick in. So they schedule all their meetings, a couple of weeks out. So I'm going to hit that. But I just want a couple of weeks where I'm checking my phone because I think it's broken because nobody's calling. Like, I want to go through that. I want to go through okay, it's ringing. I want to go through that every so often. It's a nice, comfortable, use watch to binge iPhone. I do it all the time that I'm getting older. Use watch to, oh no, I know where my phone is. I just can't get to it. Now, the question is, hold on. I don't want it to mess up my colors, but I should be able to do this and turn it on. I still need my phone for the emergency setting, and since I have to blow my nose, so I'm gonna go grab my phone real quick and grab a bottle of water because I just came from the gym. So I will see you later. Enjoy one of my old ass reels. Enjoy. Hey, how's it going? Oh, thank you for answering the door. You guys available on July 1st? Yeah, we're available. Do you have a brochure I can take a look at? Here you go. This all looks good. Can you send me out a contract? Here's your contract. Oh, thank you very much. Okay, see here. Just go ahead and sign it and send it in your deposit. Okay. Are you gonna sign it? If you need to take some time, go ahead. Just send it in when you're ready. All right, thank you. Hey, sorry I took a little while, but I'm finally ready to sign the contract. So if you can just send me. Yeah, we are no longer available for that date. You're not available? Sorry. Well, can you recommend another DJ? Okay, here we go. So forgive me if I have to get up and scream at my children in a minute, but I'm going to because they're supposed to be leaving in like 15 minutes. And they're still in the bed. They're still in the bed. Meanwhile, one of us has been to the gym this morning, and now he's running his talk show. So who's winning today? Who's winning? It's not them. I'm gonna tell you that. It's not them. Okay, let's take a look at some of the chat here. You said you're in and out today. Oh, gotcha. Yes. I have a couple of meetings, two meetings. One right at 1 o'clock. So I want to be out of here by 12:30 so I can take a shower because it's a Zoom meeting. And even though, that's the only good thing about Zoom meetings and Google Meets and all that stuff. I can be funky and nobody will know. You know what I mean? Like I can be just the ripest, nastiest individual you will ever see and nobody will know. There's no smell-o-vision on the computer. That's the best thing. I don't even have to brush my teeth if I don't want to. I mean, I did. That's pretty much the only thing I did this morning. Brushed my teeth, put some deodorant on, and went to the gym. So now, after this, hop in the shower, shave, do all my stuff, get it over with. But, you guys know me for me, the real me. So I appreciate you guys hanging out. I do have a pet peeve, though. My pet peeve is if you schedule a meeting with me. Typically, it doesn't really apply to like Zooms and Google Meets, any of the, face-to-face type things. But if you schedule a meeting with me, I use an app called Calendly. You guys know this. And I call you at the time you selected. You put it on there. You chose that date and that time. If I call you and you're in the grocery store, if I call you and you're in the middle of a line waiting for, your kids and there's noise everywhere. If I call you, you're at a restaurant. The worst is when I call you and you're at a doctor's visit. If I could, there's certain things that need to be like called out. Now, obviously I'm not going to call somebody out because then I'd be out of a job, but I can complain. I can be visibly upset. I can talk to you guys, fellow DJs who understand that it's effing frustrating. I'm sorry. What? I can't hear you. What? Maybe it's your signal. No, maybe it's your signal. Maybe I'm calling you from my office. Maybe it's you driving down the 405. Maybe it's you. I don't know. Oh, you can't hear me? Maybe tell your kids to just be quiet. I'm trying to be nice in the beginning, just in case people are like popping on to see me. But these aren't even things that I would call like bad business things. These are things I would call like just civil understanding. Our civil contracts that we have out there. Like that's one of those things you shouldn't do. And as a business, but just as a human being, like if I call you, if we made an appointment and I call you and you're on a carnival ride, I'm gonna be pissed. I'm like, I don't understand. Why are you at Disneyland right now when you knew we had a meeting? Oh, it's cool. I can talk. You're on the ride. Hold on. It's not going to go off yet, but you're on the ride. Just problems. So, that's one issue that I face, and I face it a lot. And I guess one of the things that we have stood on business, speaking of prioritize your business, we have stood on is our Calendly. That's how we run our business. We run it through scheduled meetings. Now, there are some people, namely older people, and when I say older people, I'm referring to, our people. A lot of us are 40s, 50s, some even 60s. And they have trouble. People choose what they want, Jacob. That's the beauty of Calendly. They decide what they want to do. So I don't select anything. But I had a lady yesterday. She was like, I have an issue. I said, what's your issue? This was a sales call. What's your issue? Well, I called you guys, and then it said nobody called me back. And I said, well, in the message it says, you need to schedule a phone call. Yeah, well, I had trouble with that. I'm sorry. Like, I'm sorry. Yeah, I had to get my husband and my son to schedule the call because I just didn't understand it. And there were so many options. I'm like, there's 3 options. 1, schedule a call, 15 minutes. 1, which is like general questions call. 2, schedule your call, sales meeting. It literally says sales meeting or, scheduling meeting. And then the last, Zoom. My Zooms or my Google Meets are a mandatory 30 minutes. Everything else can be 15 or 30. I find, typically speaking, 15s are like the perfect time. 15s are pretty much the perfect time regardless, unless I feel like really, really being chatty. But 15 is like a good place. They get their questions out. You can answer them, especially if you are like me and I don't even talk to clients until they've seen my pricing. I'm not trying to start off trying to be the sales guy and, hey, what would you do if I gave you this and this and this? Mac, I'm not talking to you right now. And this, if I gotta make a tutorial for them, is so dumb, because if they can't even listen, you think the tutorial is going to help them? No, that is a bad use of my time. I will make a tutorial for anybody that is booked and they need help going through their client portal or, little things like that. That's the stuff that makes sense, because I get those questions all the time. Hey, where's my invoice? Hey, what's in my package? Which is the funniest thing that people ask me. What's in my package? You signed a contract and you don't know what's in your package? Do I have this? And trust me when I tell you, our emails and our descriptions are very thorough. The problem is what the problem has always been. People don't read and people don't listen. That's it. People don't read and people don't listen. So you can spend all the time in the world making the most perfect tutorials, descriptions. They don't listen. We have in big, bold ass letters when they sign their contract. Please read this section. Very important. First thing at the top. Why do I have people all still asking me, hey, how do I do this? Where's this? How do I pay? We have canned responses for answers that we've put in the answers. I mean, that's it. That's it. I mean, the funniest thing is when I have clients, because I got clients, they're really, affluent clients. And DJ Dell in the building, what's going on? They're really, affluent clients. So they will order like a huge package with us. And then they will order the same package with their party planner and not even know. I handle everything, Jacob. It all runs through me. I'll explain that in a minute. Now, here's my rule, because there's 2 things that I could not stand that people would do. First off, if a client books our package, and we're pretty flexible, about modifying and all these things. Like we're never like you book us, we can work around everything else. Unless it's big things like an LED wall or, cold sparklers. I'm like, those are non-refundable. If you book it, you're booking it. If you cancel it, you're still responsible for paying a portion because I put people aside for that. But when clients book with us in our emails, it's like, look, this is your packages. Yes, we can modify them at any point up until you pay your final balance. After you pay your final balance, the only thing we can do is add to your contract. We will not subtract once you pay your final balance. Now, some people might think, well, that's kind of shitty. Their final balance payment is due 2 weeks before their event. If you don't know all the stuff you need or don't need or have or don't have, at that point, that is on you. You've had many opportunities. We've had meetings, emails have gone out every single month. Like all of these things have happened. So if you've paid for something like, oh, well, my party planner is offering that. It's not my problem. That is not my problem. That is a you problem. So I'm very solid on that. Like I don't really mess around with that because the one thing I don't want to have to do, I don't refund money. I'll credit money, meaning, oh, you don't want that anymore? Cool. Credit on your account before you pay your final bill. I don't refund once that money is in my account unless we've done some seriously bad shit. That's it. I don't refund. You're not taking food out my baby's mouth. I don't refund. Now, I can modify depending on the certain things. If they're like, oh, I don't need that. Well, can I have this instead? Okay, we can do that. But if you're just like, I already paid for that. Sorry. And another thing that coordinators like to do this because some coordinators like to take everything under their own umbrella. Now, there's a couple of reasons why they do this. One, sure, they can manage it maybe a little better. Maybe. We'll give them that. I'll play give them the benefit of the doubt. But I think more importantly, coordinators like to run it through them because they can get money off the top. You get what I'm saying? They can charge a little more for the services. Maybe your service is only $2,000, but maybe they tell the client, it's $2,500. They make a little profit. I'm not saying they all do that, but I'm not saying they don't. So when that happens, a party planner may call us and go, hey, we don't need any of this stuff. We have all this stuff. Before we would go, especially when early on, okay, sure, fine, whatever. Now we're like, no. What do you mean? They booked it through us. And we are just as good as any one of your other people you want to bring in and make a profit off of. You won't do that with us. If we have an LED wall and you're like, I'm going to use my other guy. Well, then there's just going to be 2 LED walls in the building because we are not going to give that money back. Or we just walk away with, a few $1,000s and we didn't have to pay anything out. I'm fine with that. So that's just a rule of thumb. For me, your mileage may vary, depending on what social site you go to or what, DJ forum you go to. Some of the rules you guys have, and when I say you guys, I'm talking generally speaking, but some of the rules you guys have are absolutely insane to me. And that's why run your business the way you run your business. But some things are insane to me. Some of the things that you guys put in contracts and think that you can enforce. You think that legally a judge is not going to side with the client. Well, it's in my contract, so a lot of things can be in your contract. Doesn't mean that legally you're going to win. It's the same thing where DJs are like, well, you have to put, if you're going to do it, no deposit, you have to call it a retainer. You have to call it this. It's all bullshit. It's all bullshit. It is all bullshit. If the contract basically states you can't receive that money, you can't get that money back, doesn't matter. Does not matter. So I just I let a lot of people just say shit out there. Like I don't pop into the conversations and try to, give the facts because, people don't want to hear facts. So it is what it is. I mean, it's just like the way the world works. People know everything and they don't want to hear anything else. So let them go. Hey, if it's working for you, it's working for you. If you're scaring your clients into thinking that they don't have a leg to stand on, I'd prefer to talk to my clients and have a partnership. But that's just me. We have weather clauses in our contract. I don't have anything that states if you don't provide me coverage, I won't do your party. That's insane. That's absolutely insane. So it's little things like that. I just came from the gym and now I'm like draining and there's like sinus pressure. Sinus pressure, period. I was like sinus pressure in my, it's sinus pressure. You know where the sinuses are, but I'm going to blow my nose again in just a second. Stevie Ray says, did you have a lawyer write your contract? My contract was written by my business lawyer, then modified. Absolutely. Yeah. I think the first one we did was we took it from like another DJ company that did it, and then we kind of just ran it that way. And then later on, a lot of my clients are lawyers and doctors and venture capitalists. They just make money. My clients make money. And one of my guys was like, hey, well, he wanted a deal. He was like, hey, there's some wording in here I would probably change in your contract, as he was kind of reviewing it, because before he signed it, he goes, there's some things that can leave you a little liable here. So, you might want to, blah, blah, blah. And hey, if you give me the thing for free, I'll do it. And I'm like, I'm good. Because I have lawyers that are in my family. So then I sent it to them and I'm like, hey, can you give this a once over? And they came in, they changed some stuff. They're like, here you go. You're good. It's been ironclad after that. It was pretty ironclad before, but yeah, I get it. If you have, kind of a crappy, devious lawyer, they'll find those little loopholes. But in general, my contracts have stuck. I haven't even had, I've only lost one. I only lost one chargeback through, what was it through Square one time. And that one was on the cusp anyway. So I was like, let me see if I can do this. And it was a dumb contract to begin with. Okay. So, well, hold on. I am going to just really quickly blow my nose real quick, just so you don't have to hear me all stepped up, even though I'm going to be stepped up, but still. So hold on half a second here. I got nothing I want to show you now. Yo, I just booked my first wedding. Yeah? Dope. When is it? Next week. Can you believe it? Next week. Okay. Do you have any gear? Yeah. I have 2 12-inch speakers. Okay. Well, you might want to rent or borrow somebody's sub. Okay. All right. That's cool. What about microphone? You have a microphone? Well, I have a corded microphone. Yeah, again, you might want to go out and rent or borrow somebody's wireless microphone. Okay. A week from now is pretty quick. Do you have all the music? Do you have everything they need? I have some music, but I have my SoundCloud streaming service, and if I need to, YouTube. How much are they paying you? Bro, 6 hours plus the ceremony, $300. Oh, you're good. Yeah? Yeah, you're good, man. You're good. Have a good time. Sweet. Thanks, man. All right. As I was blowing my nose, I lost my train of thought. So what was I talking about? Anyway, I'll go. Let me know in the chat. Sam says you can ask ChatGPT to act as a lawyer, give it a role in context as well. Okay. while I agree that ChatGPT is fantastic, and especially for, a lot of legal things, the one thing I don't agree with is the law is the law unless there's a gray area in it. That gray area, that's why there are judges. That's why there are, jurors, because the gray area is the part that ChatGPT can't do. So I like to have a human being look at it with experience in law, arguing cases, because they will understand the nuances of how judges work. You get what I'm saying? Like, because there's things like, for instance, now I remember my train of thought. This client was in the Bay Area. And when she booked us, she didn't tell us where she was. First off, she requested the local brochure, and she didn't tell us where she was. And she asked for the package, and my partner just sent the contract out. So, we have a lot of parties and we have a lot of automation. So certain things, it just slipped through the crack of where she was until our meeting happened like 2 months before the event. And then I was talking to her and I look down and I see, hey, you're not in Southern California. You're in the Bay Area. She's like, yeah, I know. Like, you didn't mention that anywhere. And I said, the problem is I got to pay for people to come out there, so I have to charge you the travel cost. I'm not charging you anymore. I'm just charging you the travel costs, so that's what we need to get there. She's like, well, I didn't know that. And I said, but you didn't even request the right brochure. She fucking knew. Anyway, I didn't know that. And I'm like, okay, well, look, this is the bare minimum we need. She's like, well, this isn't fair because I didn't know and you didn't say and blah, blah, blah. And I signed a contract. I'm like, you signed a contract for our services, but our services still require us to get there. Anyway, she's like, well, so then she was just like, and I said, well, let me just work it out. Anyway, I worked it out, right? So she had to pay it was like $500. Our normal travel, to the Bay, is anywhere between $3,500, $2,500, and $4,000, depending on what it is. Anyway, so, okay. So she was like, I'll get back to you. I call my partner. I'm like, she's about to cancel this contract. So, she cancels the contract and then she files a chargeback, but she files a chargeback for the entire amount. And so we fought it. I sent the contract out and everything. That was the only one we lost. And I knew there was a 50-50 chance that we were going to lose on that one. Because it was really just the deposit. I was like, no, she can't have the deposit. Deposit's not refundable, Anyway, so the reason why I'm saying this is because every failure, every time you screw up, or you make a mistake, or somebody calls you on a loophole, that's great. It sucks financially, but it's also great because it allows you to close up those loopholes. It allows you to go, you know what? I got to put some writing in here. I got to add something in here. So in all of our emails that go out, no matter where they are, they could be across the street from me. It literally says in the contract, if you are not in the greater Los Angeles area, there will be a fee attached afterwards. So that way, if we missed where they were, we can say, oh, hey, by the way, you're too far. I got to charge you. What do you mean? What? It's in your contract. Now I don't have to say exactly what it's going to cost. I don't have to say anything. I can just say there's going to be a fee. And that closes up that loophole. That's all it is. That's all law is. Law is closing up loopholes. So you don't get screwed. Now, and I want it to be fair for both of us. I want you to know what you're paying for, and I want to know what I'm bringing and providing to you. That's just like common sense math there. Okay, let me see. There was a question up here. Hold on. Where was that question at? Okay, DJ Dell. When clients pay by credit card, do you charge an extra fee? Yes. I'm not going to lose money because you want to earn some points or you don't have enough money to cover it. So you use your credit card. No judgment here. I'm not saying that, but there is a 3%, I think 3.2% fee that goes on top of it. That's it. Like, and it's not just credit cards. It's if you pay via credit card, if you pay via Venmo, if you pay via PayPal. The only thing I don't charge fees on are Zelle, cash, and check. Those three. Everything else you got to pay. It's. Can you waive it? No, I can't waive it. Would you rather me just, I'm giving you the option. I'm totally giving you the option. I'm saying you can pay via Zelle. There's no charge on the Zelle. There's no charge on the cash. We don't really do checks anymore. The only time we do checks is like if it's like a school or, city government type stuff. But anybody else, they pay via Zelle. Like, we're not playing this game. You send the via Zelle, it's gone. The money's out of your account. It's into my account immediately. No problems. So we do that way. Okay. There's people using ChatGPT as booking agents or assistant. That's common. Right now, even like I use a company called Ring Central for my phone. I have been using it for the past almost 18 years now. And they just introduced an AI attendant for that. I haven't turned it on yet, but I will be, because I think that alone will help a lot of people that were like, I can't get a hold of you. Well, this way you can. And more importantly, I don't have to spend all day checking voicemails, because when you talk to the ChatGPT, they're going to send you the transcript. So I know what's going on right off the bat. And I know if I need to call, or if I need to email, or if I need to send out a contract. It's just easy that way. So I will be using the AI system. There's a point to all of these AIs and these ChatGPTs. Like, I'm not saying they're not valuable. They're absolutely valuable. But a lot of people are using them to replace like all human contact. And I think that's just dumb. Or putting your trust into something that literally has, what's the word they use for it? Hallucinations. Why would you trust something that is like adamant about being right when it's absolutely wrong? So, it can be used for certain things, but not for all things, in my opinion. Okay. Let's see here. Questions. I would love to see a controller that has the same DeX, but 7-inch version of the CR. That's the Rev 7 or the Rain 1 or the Rain 1 MK2. Why hasn't my family left yet? Hold on. Sorry, had to be dad for a minute. Okay. Yeah, the Rain 1s literally are basically essentially are you talking about you want to be able to play vinyl? Because if you don't, then the Cross 12s, if you're not putting new vinyl on, you know what I'm saying? Okay. Let's see. Okay, ChatGPT. Skip that. Rain 1 has powerful platters. That's a little bit extreme. they have normal platters. The torque is the same on pretty much all of them. But the Rain 1 has good platters. It's probably the best thing about them. Dare I say it, the Rain 1 has better platters than the Rain 12s. Maybe because they're smaller, but they seem to work better than the Rain 12s. The deposit should be noted that it's for music, prep, phone calls, etc. It does not matter what you say. And if you're getting that detailed, you're screwing yourself. The whole point of law of a legal contract is to put things in place that puts guardrails on what you're doing, but you don't want to lock yourself into a box. And if you say it's noted that it's just for these things, then what happens if it's not for those things? What happens if you didn't do all that yet? You get what I'm saying? What happens if you didn't do the music prep or have any phone calls with the client? Now you're required to give the money back because you put in there that that's all the deposit's for. So I would not recommend that, in my opinion. Okay. Yes, exactly. During the pandemic, I had lots of clients wanting like all their money back or all the deposits back, and I was fighting it and going, look, this is the situation. They paid. Called my lawyer cousin, and he flat out said, he goes, you're not going to win. I said, what do you mean? He goes, if they take you to court, you're not going to win. And it has nothing to do with law. It has to do with what the judge sees as fair. And you're not going to win this. So it's better to figure out some other way to avoid going to court, because the judge is going to side in the client's favor, no matter what. And your contract could be like rock solid. And he's right. He's right. My kids are still here and they're driving me crazy. Okay. I mean, you should charge transaction fees on anything, no matter where you are. If there's a fee associated, if your bill is $1,000 and the fee takes $30 from you. I mean, they're already taking fees, because I know what they're going to say. They're going to be like, well, yeah, but I paid you the amount. Yeah, but you paid via an option that charges money. So I'm not losing money off of you. I'm not losing money. That's the facts. I mean, I think when you first start, you're really trying to just gain clients, and maybe you're more flexible. But once you get to a certain point, it's okay to be, and I'm always honest with my client, but I'm just like, look, this is why it's here. And if I give you another option, you can't really be mad at me. You can be mad. You can be frustrated that you don't have that way of paying on the other option, but you can't just be mad at me because I said, sorry, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to lose money. He just waived the fee. Yeah, I can waive the fee if you pay by Zelle, or if you pay by cash, if you pay by check. I'm just no longer into losing money. I think, and then at a certain point, these things happen. You get to a point where you're like, I'm established enough to where I don't need to make concessions. Now, I'm always flexible. If a client calls me up and they're like, look, this is our budget, this is what we have to work with, I'm more than happy to try to work around your budget within reason. Like, I'm that guy. It's just got to be fair. It's fair. I mean, we've been in business for almost 18 years, and up to this day, when I don't have to give anybody anything, any concessions. Like, we do enough business, but I'm always like, yeah, well, let me see. What do you want? Okay. You only get told no for sure if you don't ask. So if a client's like, hey, you know what? I'd like to get this, but is it possible you can do this? There's certain things that I'll work around, and certain things they'll say, oh, I don't really want this, or I don't really want to pay for this much. Okay, well, I'll give you the cheaper version of it. Oh, you don't want the trusses, or you don't want the movers? Cool. I'll give you the gig bar instead. No big deal. Or, you know what? I only have enough money for this, but I do want some uplights. Is there any way? Okay, I'll tell you what. I'll give you 6 uplights. I'll charge you for 6 uplights, but I'll give you 10. I've already paid for my uplights. They don't cost me any money. I've made money off the 6. Would it be nice to make money off the 10? Yes, but make money off the 6, they come back. Just good business is a lot like just being a good person. You know what I mean? That's all it is. It's just being a good person. It's not being this. Look, there's There's good business, and then there's people that are just making money. Okay. If you're making millions and millions of dollars, chances are you're screwing some people over. DJ Dell, that is literally my line. Literally my line. You might have taken that from me. So yeah, but I'm flexible, and I'll be the first one. I've said this before. I probably in that conversation, I'll be the first one to tell people, you don't need that. You don't need that. It's just a waste of your money. Why do that? It's a waste of your money. What do you mean? It's, like I have a big issue, and we do lighting production too. So certain things are modified a little bit, but like I have a big issue with when people are like, I want to put a gobo on the dance floor. And I'm like, why? Well, it looks great. Yeah, it looks great for 20 minutes. And then everybody's on the dance floor. If I'm doing my job correctly, everybody's on the dance floor. And if everybody's on the dance floor, you're not going to see that gobo. And now you've spent all this money in a gobo that you can't even see. So why don't we take that gobo and put it on a wall so it's always visible? Oh, that makes a lot of sense. Or, oh, no, I don't need it. So that's simple as that. I tell people, I want all this stuff. You don't even have the room to support that in that room. What do you mean? The room's too small for what you're doing. So you're going to get in there and it's going to feel like it's crazy. So I would not recommend that. Now, did I just lose money? Technically, yes. But I know one thing that's not going to happen. That client's not going to be like, you know what? I paid for check 1, 2. I spent all this money and I didn't need half the stuff they sold me. That is the number one thing I don't want to be out there for me in my company. I want to make sure they have what they need. After that, that's on them. If they're like, oh yeah, they told me that I didn't need it, but I bought it anyway. So listen to him next time. All good. All good. Ratbone in the building says, hey, my father-in-law said you can be a plumber that charges fair and gets constant work, or you can carve a lot and screw people, charge a lot and screw people and lose business. Facts. There's a reason that I'm still in business today. And not just in business, but like with an excellent reputation. And one of the things, and this isn't ego, okay? This is absolutely not ego. But one of the reasons is because when people call me, they feel like they're talking to a real person who cares about them. And not just like, look, I don't care about everything that's on your party, okay? But I care that you're happy that the party is a success. I care that you are getting what you asked for. I care that you feel like the money you're paying is justified. We charge more than a lot of other companies. So I need you to feel like what you're getting makes sense. So, and I'm always honest. I was just on a call with a planner a couple of days ago, and there's this thing that a lot of planners do that they're yes men or yes women, yes person, yes people. And they have this fear that if they tell a client no, that it's going to ruin their business. But I have found that telling a client no, with a good reason, not just telling a client no, but telling a client no and providing the reason is what they look for. A lot of these people have never thrown a party. They've never thrown a party. So they're there going, hey, I don't know. What do you recommend? And they're going to be able to trust you in that capacity. That's what I want. And I'm on these calls with these clients and the party planner and the clients, and the clients asking questions, and the party planner is giving them this ridiculously political answer. They don't even answer the question. And I'm like, no, that's not a good idea because of this. Well, not a good idea. Well, you'll make it work. We'll make it work, but it's going to do this to your party. Clients are always like, what I really want to do? I want to do this thing. And you're like, okay, yeah, you could do that, but this is what's going to happen when you do that. What do you mean? This is what's going to happen. Well, no, you're good DJs. You'll make it work. It's not about being a good DJ. It's about what's going to happen. I'm a great DJ, but I can't combat whatever you're trying to do. So I'm fine with you doing this as long as you understand that this is going to happen. So as long as we're on the same page, I got no problems with it. I got no problems. I had a party once. It was guaranteed $1 million. Bar mitzvah. And they brought in everything, including a Ferris wheel. They had vendors upon vendors upon vendors. And then they were like, so you're going to DJ, with your crew and everything. And, we're going to do this. We're going to do this. And she sends me the schedule and everything. And we're going to do all this. And I looked at it. I said, so just so we're clear, I'm just another vendor on your party. Well, what do you mean? Well, because you have all of these things and they're all going to be grabbing the attention of the people. So I'm just another vendor grabbing attention, just grabbing my little piece of the pie. No. I want you to grab them up and I want you to get them dancing. Well, I'd love to, except for the fact that it's not really going to be possible. Just letting you know in advance. So when you see it, you're not shocked. I'm going to do everything I can. I'm going to swing for the fences. But the reality is this is likely going to happen. Oh, really? Yeah. And look, if this is what you want, I will be that. As long as your expectations and my expectations are on the same page, I'll do what you want. I'll do anything you want. You want to hold grand entrance until 2 minutes before the party ends? It's a bad idea, but if that's what you want, this is what's going to happen. Okay, you're good with it? Okay. No problem. Like, it's a huge East Coast thing, since you guys know we do a lot of bar and bat mitzvahs. It's a huge East Coast thing where they put the hora in like the third hour. So let's say it's a standard 4-hour party, not including cocktails, so 5-hour window. They'll hold the hora until after dinner. And then they'll do the hora as a way to get everybody back on the dance floor and then to go into a big dance set. I've done it both ways. It works best in the beginning. It works best. Now, can it be done in the third hour? Yes. Does it lose its power? Absolutely. Absolutely loses its power. But we're good DJs, so we'll make it work. Doesn't change the fact that it would have been much better in the beginning. So, again, just knowing what to expect out of that. That's all. I mean, you paid me to do a service. I mean, I have a lady right now that's trying to book us for July. And she's like, we have a band. We just need an MC. I'm like, we don't really do that. It's kind of a package deal. Well, she's already got a band and they just need this and blah, blah, blah. And they just want somebody that's going to be, on the microphone, making announcements and, making jokes here and there. And I'm like, well, maybe you should just go hire a comedian, because that's kind of what it sounds like you want. I mean, we can give you something, but they're not comedians. They're MCs. They can talk to a crowd. They can be personable. They can be friendly. They can be humorous. But if you're expecting them to like, this thing on, it's not going to happen. That's not what my people are. Not going to happen. My wedding from this past Saturday had the horror in the third hour. Not a bad way to start the dance set. It is. Okay. Let me put it to you this way. All right. The horror at the start of a dance set is equivalent to a slow dance at the start of a dance set. You're still going to get people on the dance floor. And then it's up to you with that next song to keep people on the dance floor. We are in agreement. Okay. You're in agreement. But there's no way in the world that a horror, after people have been there, they've drank, they've eaten, they've sat, they've danced, obviously, because you've danced for that first half hour, whatever. And now you're going to do the horror and they're going to have the same energy. It won't be the same. It'll get people to the floor, Lehman. It'll get people to the floor and they'll be there, but it's not going to be the same dramatic horror that you get in the beginning where people just are full of energy. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. And like I said, this is all I do. And I've seen it done multiple ways at the third hour and multiple ways in the first hour. And the first hour is always better. Always. Now, again, doesn't mean it can't happen. Okay. Let's see here. Let's go back to, okay. Did my first solo wedding for my multi-op 2 weeks ago, and a family member suffered a heart attack right before couple's first dance. Handled it as professionally as I could, but it sucked the air out. Yeah, it does. It does. And there's nothing you can do. All you can do is just, be honest about the situation and try to pull people together. It happens. We've actually had that before too. We've had a couple of heart attacks. I've seen a couple of fights. Like it's nature of the beast. You know what I mean? And you just work through it. Yeah, you cut the music. I mean, you cut the music and you just, hey, we're going to need some help over here. And then while they're working, I'm not playing a soundtrack to your potential death. Okay. So we're just going to avoid that altogether. But yeah, you just kind of wait it out. And then once they get them off, then you can change it up again. But it's going to affect, obviously the person having a heart attack. It's going to affect the immediate family. It's going to affect the extended family because that's kind of a big deal. So, there's nothing worse than people that don't want to confront a situation that is obviously happening right now. That's it. Just be honest. Just be honest. Ladies and gentlemen, I know it's going to be hard to, get up after that, but we're going to pray for so-and-so. And, I'm sure that they would want us to have a good time and not ruin's the wrong word, but not ruin, this bride and groom's big day. So let's do it for them. And, let's do it for Grandpa Chuck, and then you play Unchained Melody or some shit. That was a joke. Philip, that could go on for days. I have so many. Let's see here. Been there, done that. Been there, done that. Okay. All right. Poodle Ballin. Unusual name, Poodle Ballin. The first time I was ever refused to be able to buy something in a store was a Radio Shack sales guy telling me the spinning globe light was a piece of junk and wouldn't tell it to me. That sounds like a good employee. It's probably why they went out of business, because all these retailers make money off of lying to you. So yeah, good for him. Good for him. I want people to be honest with me. Look, if I come in to spend money, right? What I don't want the guy to be like, if I walk in, I'm like my mother-in-law. Okay. She's like 65, 68 years old, whatever. She goes into Verizon and she walks in, she's like, I need a phone. And you're like, well, what do you want? And she's like, I don't know. I need an iPhone. My whole family's on iPhones. I need an iPhone. If you try to sell her an iPhone Max Pro 1 terabyte, you can kick rocks, and I'm going to show up at Verizon and slap you in the face. You get what I'm saying? Like as a salesman, you should go, oh, you want an iPhone? Okay, here. This is the base model. It gives you, 256 gigs of RAM. This is a great one. It still gives you all the features and stuff. It'll still work with your Apple Watch and everything. This is the one you should get. Or if I walk in and I'm like, look, man, this is what I'm working with. I want to upgrade. Is it worth it? And they say, for you, no. That's what I want to hear. I want people to be honest. Because if I upgrade, right? I upgrade whatever it is that I just got, and then I get home and it's the same damn phone, I'm going to be very, very annoyed, and I'm never going to trust you again. That's the thing. So to each their own. I'd rather just be honest with people. Oh, gotcha. Gotcha, Poodle. That's funny. Made up sex word. And you chose it. That's a made up sex term. I think I'm going to use that for my public appearance. Then when they say, that's weird, you say it's a sex term. They're like, you're not a pervert or anything, are you? Thoughts on fake mic idea for the dance floor going around? Seems pretty cool, but can seem tacky. I think it's corny. I don't do corny. Not that I'm incapable of doing corny. No, I'm incapable of doing corny. My body won't let me do corny. My grown ass human being energy won't let me do corny. So if anything seems corny, I'm like, nah, I'm good. I'm good. I still remember to this day. It was like my first, could have been my first party doing a bar mitzvah. I was a dancer, and we get to this place, and now that I think about it, it was the temple in Beverly Hills, old temple. It's been around forever. What's it called? Anyway, it's brick walls and everything. Not make a long story short. And we're in the room. No, it was VBS. And we're in the room. Party's going great. Everybody's dancing. We're doing our thing. Then all of a sudden, the MC goes, hold on, everybody. I need everybody to move off the dance floor. And they extend it to the outside. I'm like, what's going on? He goes, come here, come here. I walk over to him. He goes, hey, man, I need you to grab this. I'm like, why am I taking plastic out to the dance floor? Just roll it out. And they took it and they rolled it out of the dance floor. This was 98. They rolled it on the dance floor in strips. It was packing plastic. You know, the ones with the bubbles, bubble wrap. And then he played a song and they all just jumped on it and popped all the bubble wrap. I'd never seen anything like that. And even at that point, never had been to a bar mitzvah. Even at that point, I'm like, this is corny as fuck. This is ridiculous. Now, fast forward 10 years, and that's 12 years. And that's basically when we started our company. And I said, when my partner and I, we got together, we're sitting down, kind of writing up our business plan. What don't we want to do? And we said, we don't want to be cheesy. We don't want to be corny. We want to be the cool DJ company. Bubble wrap's not cool. So if people are like, do you do bubble wrap? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Nope. And I tell them, I'm like, hey, if you want to bring bubble wrap in, because that's your thing, that's fine. You bring it in, you have your people roll it out, we'll play the music and let them go. But we will never provide you with bubble wrap. Ever. Now, fast forward to 1 month ago. And I'm at a friend's bat mitzvah. They didn't book us. They had used somebody else before we even met, dance family. And but they invited us. There was a company I'd never seen before. So I'm like, this is great. This is a great opportunity. I love to see when people compare us to somebody. I love to see how they are. And long story short. But one thing they did do was about 3 hours in, they brought bubble wrap out. And I'm like, people are still doing bubble wrap? That is insane. And it looked as corny now as it did before. And it just took like 15 points off of them for me. Can't do it. Okay. Let's see here. Well, thank you. Keith Just in the building. What's going on? Yeah. Honesty is, I think that's the perfect statement. It's a lonely word because it's a lonely life. A lot of people, CT, you might be a hater. I'm absolutely, how am I a hater? You should, crunchy leaves. Yeah. Stepping it up. Honesty is something that Most people tell you they want to hear, they don't really want to hear it. Okay. I can give you an example. Anybody married here? Anybody married? If you are, how honest can you be to your wife? Really? This is and this is a person that you have your absolute history with. You know that person like the back of your hand. You know that person. And they know all of you and who you are and what you are, your secrets, all that stuff. They know everything. They know your dirty darkness. They know the perverted things you like or don't like. They know all of it. What they don't know, or what they do know, but they don't want you to tell them that you know, is whatever question they're asking. And when you are honest, they do not like it. So there's a way to do honesty where, I mean, and that's why we all do this thing. I love everything that you wear. You look great. You look great any way you are. I love you. That's the truth. But I know if I tell you something, like say for instance, my wife's like, I don't like the way I look. Oh, I put on a few pounds. Oh, I really shouldn't be eating this. I really should. They don't want to hear, then don't eat it. They don't want to hear, well, then if you know you shouldn't eat it, why are you eating it? They don't want to hear, you should ask Rain what's up with the Rain MK2. I can't answer that. Gary P, I have no idea. I mean, if I do know, which I do know, I can't answer it because I'm on an NDA, but you have to ask them. It'll come out when it comes out. That's the bottom line. It'll come out when it comes out. Anyway, don't tell me what I want to hear. Yeah, that's a lie. That's an absolute lie. And one, my wife's like, oh, I hate blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, well, you can come to the gym with me. You know, I don't want to do that. Well, that's the way you get to where you want to be. And, or, hey, we should do this, or maybe don't eat that. What? Don't tell me what I can and cannot eat. I don't even have the review sample. I don't have one yet. So, like I said, it'll come out when it comes out. In all honesty, a lot of times I'll forget about products that they're like, oh yeah, it's coming out, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, cool. And then it'll just like show up at my door one day. So to each their own. To each their own. I mean, the same thing could be said about like the new phase. The new phase is supposed to be out. Tariffs, they can't do it. Rain 1, I'm sure. Tariffs, I'm sure. So there's a lot of little question marks that are out there right now, but it'll come out when it comes out. I'm sure that unless you threw your whatever controller you're using, off the DJ table, I'm sure you're fine. I'm sure you'll be just fine. Now, I'm trying to figure out if, just for weight purposes, if the Rain 1 MK2 is a better choice for me and my furniture. Because if I swap out the Performer for the MK2, I get more surface area on my actual furniture, which is great because the Rain 1 is not Rain 1, the Performer is max. It's a little weighty. It's a little weighty. This is amazing. And to be fair, I like my wife with some weight on her. I don't want some skinny ass girl. That's not my thing. It's not my thing. The only time I say anything is if like, because Where there's a little weight, there's a little extra spaces for things like your upper body. And if she's wearing something where I'm like, if she's with me, I don't care. But if she's going out like on her own or with some friends, I'm like, what you doing with that big ass booby dress on? Where are you going? You get what I'm saying? So, I have my things too. My things too. Okay. And there's nothing wrong with that, Radbone. There's nothing wrong with that. As a matter of fact, I've been on this kick lately where this is the worst thing to be as a tech reviewer, where I'm like, most people don't need 98% of the stuff that I'm reviewing. Most people don't. Most people's gear is fine. And that's why I love when look, I'm technically an old head, right? But I got older heads out there that are still DJing. And I sometimes when they're like, nah, man, I still use my NS7 and I might whatever, and I still this and all that, and I still have a Rain 57 and my 1200s, and that's all I'll ever need. All I'll ever need. And I'm like, okay, look, well, I appreciate what you're saying. Technology has come a long way. Your life could be easier with some of this new equipment. Not all the equipment, but some of this newer equipment. There's some things in here that just make life easier. You know, like what's a thing that makes life easier? Wireless DMX. That makes life easier. Makes life easier. You know, Bluetooth in the speakers. That makes life easier. You know, if, oh crap, my controller just went out. Let me just connect to my phone and play some music. Like that makes things easier. That makes life easier. You know, having powered subs, as Philip just said, that makes life easier. You know, say what you want to say about column arrays, but they have made life easier. I mean, that's it. That's it. But, you know, I still have my turntables right over there, but I'm not rocking a Rain 57. I have the NS11. I could have kept the 57, you know, absolutely. But the S11 is a better mixer. It's technically the best mixer for battle DJs. You do not scratch over Bluetooth. There is absolutely a delay. And there will always be an inherent delay. The only way they're going to get around that, I mean, maybe at one point Bluetooth protocols, you know, just get amazing and that changes. But like, it's impossible. There will always be a delay with Bluetooth. That's why a lot of these, you know, the wireless headphones and, wireless headphones are pretty much the big thing. And like wireless XLR, that's all wireless protocols. They're not going Bluetooth because Bluetooth, there's a delay, an inherent delay. Rain 57 is your favorite mixer of all time. Okay. So this is a good statement. Okay. I'm going to qualify it. Rain 57 is the most, influential mixer of all time. Out of all the things, the Rain 57 changed the way that we DJ. Rain 57 was like the Steph Curry of mixers. Everybody was happy with their, you know, whatever Rain 56 is, and, you know, their turntables and everything. And then Serato came out and the 57 SL came out, and that literally changed the way we do stuff. That's it. That's it. Changed everything. Changed. And now think about when you go back now, think about that. Think about if you had to plug in a box. People don't even buy boxes anymore. Remember when you bought the box and you had like my first mixer with Serato. What's crap? Let me know. My first mixer was was a Newmark. It was a Newmark mixer. Was it Newmark? No. Who made the PTO one? Was it Newmark? Could have been Newmark. Anyway, it was that one. It was a Serato box and some Technics 1200s. And then the 57 came out, and everybody's saying the same thing. Well, you need to keep your Serato box because what if you go to a club and then they have, a standard analog mixer and you got to be able to do it. So you brought your box everywhere you went. And then every single piece of gear had the box built in. SL2. I didn't even have an SL4. I was rocking an SL2. And then everybody, all the controllers, all the mixers, everything had it built in. Does anybody have an SL backup anywhere or a Denon backup anywhere? Is anybody even thinking? Not PTO one scratch. No, I'm talking about the hold on, I'll remember in a minute. Has anybody even thought about having their backup in their control? Now people will bring a small controller and just throw it in their car instead of bringing a box. Like that's how far we've come. Hold on, let me see here. Hold on. Sorry, I put in the wrong search. Oh, I'm sorry. The Vestex. That was the one. Sorry, it's been a minute since I've touched a Vestex. Yeah. And it was still good. Vestex still is a great mixer. Horrible mics, horrible mic preamps, but it was a good mixer. It was a good mixer. In its time, it was a good mixer. Okay, let's see here. That's funny. I sold mine. Logistical. I sold it. Okay. I know there was a couple of questions. Let me pop up here real quick. Column arrays are all crap apart from bigger ones because they ain't portable and still don't sound as good as regular three-way systems, top and bottoms. That sounds insane. Now, I'm saying this from a loving place. It's Byram, because that's what I call an absolute statement. And on this channel, we don't do absolute statements because there's no such thing. You can't say they're all crap. First off, because you don't like whatever they are. Okay. But it's relative to what you're trying to do with them. So to say that it's crap just because doesn't really qualify it. It's relative to what you're doing with them. If because I'm going to tell you this right now, I can grab a pair of three-ways, lots of three-ways, and my LD 28 G3s in some capacities are better. Now, there are some crappy column arrays, absolutely, but I never make the statement that they're all bad. I just won't do that. Now I think the question is, we could look, if you really want to get into the weeds, I can make the same argument on your three-way powered systems. I can say all the powered systems sound like crap, and the best ones are passive speakers with amplifiers. I can make that argument right now and feel justified in doing it. It depends on the application. I'm a big fan of application and how it's used. Am I bringing a column array, my 28 G3s to a 300 person party? No. But having said that, they still don't sound bad. They're just not enough power for that room. So again, these are all opinions, and you are completely entitled to your opinion. I don't agree with it. I mean, I understand what you're saying, but I don't agree with it in the way you're saying it. Okay. Well, let me bring up my other chat real quick. I feel like I'm going to need to decide between the EV70s, 90s, or the Maori 28G3s. Okay, I can help you with that. That's actually very, very easy. Hold on, let me. This is easy. Okay. Now, when I say it's easy, I'm talking in terms of expectations. Okay. Every one of those are going to be better, and not better, up to a certain point. The 28 G3s sound great. I would never go over 125, 130 people with them ever. Okay. The EV70s sound great. I think 150 is like to 170 is like the maximum the EV70s can do. And the 90s, I'm going to put those up to, 200, 220. Okay. Somewhere around there. Okay. But each one of them you can't compare them. Like, you can't compare the EV70s with the Maui 28 G3s. The EV70s you would compare more with the 44s. The EV70s and the 44s are pretty damn close. The difference between the two, I'd put an edge to the 70s, just because the bass response in the 70s is fantastic. The bass response in the 44s are good. It's just a different kind of bass. It's just warm. Like I said, I'm not the biggest fan of the 44s. I prefer the sound profile of the 28 G3s over the 44s. But the 44s give off bass. The 70s give off better bass. And their highs actually are more clear, because the 44s are just LD in general. Their speakers are just more. People will say they're just more musical. That's what people will say. Really, they've taken down the high and the mid. The crossover is way more focused on the sub. So they come off sounding slightly muffled in some respects. But I still, to this day, the LG 28 to 28 G3s to me are, for that size, that class speaker, are still the best. I don't think there's anything that comes close to that size and the sound they put out. In all honesty, that's just my opinion, though. Yeah, not enough power, no mid-range, so crap. Only the bigger ones, but they are not portable. I don't know. I don't agree with you, and that's okay. We don't have to agree. I would beg to ask the question, in all honesty, and because I think some people make statements and they don't qualify them. What are your qualifications to say that they're all bad? Have you listened to every column array? Have you not just listened like I'm at a conference, I'm at a convention? Like, have you actually used every speaker in different situations, in different applications? Because if you haven't, you cannot say all. You can say the ones you used. I sang and DJ for 25 years. What does that matter? Does that answer my question? Does that, honestly, I'm not trying to be difficult. I'm actually just trying to prove a point here. What you did for 25 years does not change the fact that doesn't mean you've listened to every column array. That's all I'm saying. Now, coming from a person that literally does this on a daily basis, I feel like I have a little bit more information. Now, this is also coming from a person that our first 10 years of business, literally, we ran biamped systems, Cerwin-Vega earthquakes, JBL. Well, technically they were the PRXs back then. They've changed it now. The PRXs would be the SRXs now. Kind of confusing. I know it's kind of stupid. We used, what did we use? QSC. Was it Crown? Oh, I mean, Crown, it is Crown. QSC 2450s and 4050s. Is it with the QSC? I think it was QSC. Anyway, big ass, heavy ass, powerful ass amplifiers. Okay. And it took me a while, a legitimate while, to even go to a powered system because I didn't feel that any of them matched the sound that was coming out of my biamp system. Like none of them were close. Okay. And then, okay, well, yeah, I do too. All right. I'm not going to argue with you, and that's cool. You feel what you feel, and we'll move on. Okay. But like I said before, you haven't given me any information. You've not given me any facts. All you're giving me is emotion. So once you want to give me facts to make your argument, then we can go from there. But there's no point in just continuing this because I have nothing to go off of. Okay. Up until I got the A28, which is the dual cab sub from JBL, and the SRX speakers. Up until I got to that was the first system where I was like, hey, this comes close. Now, when I say it comes close, it still wasn't as good. But you, in any business, in any situation, you have to be prepared to make sacrifices or compromises, right? The compromise was, I don't have to bring this big ass system to my party, and I'm still going to get 90% of what it was before. Okay. Like that was the thing. So after that, I still wasn't doing column arrays at all. Still wasn't doing column arrays. And then finally, this is the first column array I used. Was the Bose. I mean, there might have been a rental here and there with like an EV50. I mean, I did use the EV50s. I don't like the EV50s. I've been very vocal about the fact that I don't think the EV50s are anywhere near the press that they get. Oh my God, EV50s, I can use them for anything. I've never agreed with that. The EV90s are really, really good column arrays. But again, let's get back to what I was saying before. It doesn't matter how good your speakers are if you're playing a party for 30 people. If you're playing a party for 30 people, the frequency response, the audio levels, everything you're doing is going to equal the same in a column array as in some point source speakers, sound-wise, okay? That's just facts. Now, the problem with column arrays and the problem with most people that use column arrays is that they always go beyond what they're capable of using them for. That's why column arrays sound like crap. Okay. I have a couple of KRK monitors on my desk, right? The old school ones, the originals. And I got some Yamahas too, right? The Yamahas and the KRKs sound amazing in my studio, right? But if I take those Yamahas and I put them on a speaker pole and I try to do a party with them, they're not going to sound good. Why? Because it's the right application. It's not the right application to use them outside, to use them on a party. So the same thing applies to column arrays. And of course, you can make the argument. This argument, I completely agree with, right? Which is when people say, well, why not just buy a point source system that will do 200 people off the bat? And now if you're doing 40 to 50 people, then you just use your highs, whatever. And your highs are going to sound good. Or maybe you just take one sub. Absolutely correct. Okay. If you get something that's bigger, you can always kind of, ratchet down. I'm in agreement with you, but that's just one reason. Or buying column arrays, that's just one reason why you wouldn't get a column array. But I can tell you many reasons why you would. Okay. Now, again, I have 8 point source speakers in my warehouse. Okay. So the things that I'm saying, qualified also. I have 8 point source systems, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 column array systems, maybe 7 column array systems. There's a time and a place for everything. So if I'm DJing for 40 people, I guarantee you, if I'm DJing for 100 people in any room, those Maui 28 G3s are going to rock. They're going to sound just like a point source. Now, I know what you're saying when you're like, I'm hearing the speaker and I can turn it up or turn down, and you got that full range of those point source, and I completely understand. I get what you're saying. If you need to go up, yes, you're going to be limited. I completely understand what you're saying. However, the right application. So back to my point source system, what I was saying. So yes, from a price perspective, it makes more sense to buy a point source than a column array, which you are more limited to. But they're easier to transport. In the right application, they sound amazing. And the number one thing, party planners love them. They love them. They think that they look expensive, and they're out of the way. They don't take up huge space, around the DJ area because they got stuff that they want to bring in. So when a party planner is like, hey, so I have this one party, blah, 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 and it's in all this and it's all that. Can you bring those white ones you have? They're talking about the column arrays, and not because they sound amazing. They don't give a shit. They just know they look good and they match the decor. And if we were really, in a pissing match with coordinators or anybody, let me show you how big my junk is. Great. But I'm in it for the business. I'm in it to make money. And if they can do what I need, if they can do 80% of what the other things can do, I'm doing it. And if that furniture, because you can make the argument for anything. You can say nobody needs furniture, and I agree. Most people don't need furniture. They don't, right? A facade will be just fine. But when I tell you that I've gotten more compliments and or bookings just from people seeing my setup, that's a win. That is a win. So to each their own. To each their own. That's all I'm saying. That part. It's just different. It's a different world now. It's a different world. I'll give you an example of a different world. So, my wife used to work, bar and bat mitzvahs too, right? So, and we all kind of came up in the same kind of thing at the time from like 98 to like 2010, whatever. Like there was a point, the company we worked for was like the best, period. Right? Like there was nobody in competition because they had amazing MCs, myself. They had amazing DJs, amazing MCs. And the dancers were just like great all the time. Okay. So now every so often my wife will like work a photo booth of ours and she'll see the dancers and she'll say, well, why aren't they doing this? Why aren't they doing that? Why did they arrive here? Why didn't they do this? And I'm just like, they're a different group now. Well, you got to change them. They're a different species now. They're just different. People are different. Work ethic is different. If you find somebody with that work ethic, they're like a diamond in the rough. 1 out of every like 50 people are like amazing. The rest are just regular ass people. You get what I'm saying? So when my wife is like blah 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 blah, and I'm like, okay, I hear you, but it doesn't change the fact that that's not what they are now. Does not change the fact at all. So I'm like, you give and take. So you try to do the best that you can from what it is. Yeah, well, once I listened to an influencer raving about EV50s. I bought a set. They were crap, wasted thousands of dollars. Never again. Byram, did I say you should buy the 50s? You get what I'm saying? So like, I understand what you're saying. You were rope-a-doped. I get it. And you have every right to be angry about it. I understand. Okay. Let me put it this way. I have like a little over, I think I have around 54,000 subscribers, right? Right? I could probably have hit my 100,000 way sooner if I just would have done a couple of things, right? That would have been clickbaity titles and lying about shit. Or just getting so many perks from all of these businesses that like I can sell the stuff and make more money, and I'm just making money now, right? I absolutely could have done that. It's not in my nature. Oh no, I'm not saying you said it was me. I'm saying that I'm in agreement with you that there's a lot of people out there. 55.8. Oh, thank you, Carly. I guess I've gone up. I stopped really looking at numbers in all honesty. But there's a lot of people out there that just don't tell the truth. Or I'm not going to say they don't tell the truth. I think that's wrong. It's not that they don't tell the truth. A lot of them out there don't have enough history with stuff. You know, a lot of people out there didn't DJ back in the 90s, back in the 80s. You know, they weren't using a lot of point source, which is why it took me a while to move to line arrays, because everybody's like, these are the greatest things since. And I'm like, they don't sound that good to me. The ones that were originally out, they don't sound that good to me. So no, I'm not going to use them. But meanwhile, everybody's like, they're the best thing. And then it dawned on me, and I stopped like really taking it not personal, but taking it serious. It dawned on me. The reason that they're saying they're amazing is because they don't know any better. They don't have anything to compare to. That's the reason. That it has to be the reason. So when they hear an EV50, they're like, these sound really good, because maybe they were listening to using something else, because they learned from some other company, some other mentor, and he had some crappy speakers. So then so he bought some crappy speakers, and then the EV50s came out, and then they were like, oh my God, these sound amazing. Well, they sound okay. They sound okay. They just sound okay because you never listened. You never listened to any other speakers. You never listened to amplified, passive speakers. You never heard that. You never heard that. So because of that, this is why opinions can be so skewed. If I had never heard what a real speaker should sound like, I'd probably be saying the same thing. But I know what it sounds like. If I had never DJ'd on turntables, I probably would assume that said some type of controller is perfect for it. I know, but that's why people, you gotta look into people. You gotta look into people. There's a lot of people out there, and I'm not calling anybody's names. I'm not naming anybody, because there's a lot of people that are good at certain things. You get what I'm saying? Like they're good at certain things. It's just when they try to be good at all things that the problems usually happen. That's the problem. And I'm not going to name any names. But there are people out there where I'm like, you probably shouldn't be talking about this. Stick to what you're good at. It is what it is. It is what it is. But sometimes a lot of people want to equate the numbers you have with your knowledge, and that's not always true. Case in point, KC12s. I'm still getting them. As a matter of fact, I need to text Alan again from Hollywood DJ. Because he's supposed to be sending them to me. I'm sure I could ask QSC. I just haven't. I can't. I'm fine. I'm fine not. Hollywood. Alan. There we go. Any news? Anyway, yeah. Audio one in the building. What is going on? I'm not talking about anybody in here, you know, and I've gotten to a point now where I don't even care anymore. You know, it's like, you want to keep saying crazy ass shit? Go ahead. It doesn't affect me. Now, I might have to like re-educate people when they come to my channel. Well, so-and-so said this. Okay. Sometimes the hardest part of doing this job is not saying, well, so-and-so is an asshole. So-and-so is an idiot. You know what I mean? But hey, whatever. Everybody, I give all influencers, I give them a little leniency because it's hard. It's hard doing what we do. People don't really understand it. It's hard. It's hard sitting up here, making the videos, trying to get all the information completely accurate when you know somebody's going to say it is hard. It's hard. So sometimes mistakes are made. I've made mistakes in my own videos, not like glaring ones, but I've said some things like, "Oh, you can't do this on there." And they're like, "What do you mean?" Sex. And I'm like, "Damn, dude, I just said I didn't know there was whatever." So it is what it is. Okay. I saw your post about the Rev 5 the other day. How did it hold up? I'm looking for a backup. The Rev 5 works great. Rev 5 works great. You know, now I will say one thing. That I noticed was that in DJ, because you know the video is going out very, very soon, but in DJ, I've said that there's a delay on the not the stream, the stems. I said that there was a delay, and people were like, "No, it runs perfectly. It's perfect." Blah blah blah. To a point, but I did notice one thing: stems work faster on the Rev 5 than they do on the one I've been using, the Performer. Slightly faster. And people are like, "I don't have delay in Performer." You'll have to show me because I have yet to see. I always have a slight delay, and it's legitimately a 1 beat delay. Beat, you know, hit the button, beat that. So you just have to change your timing. You have to change timing. But the Rev 5 works great. I didn't have a problem with it. I mean, it's a mini version of like, it's a DDJ 1000 and a Rev 7 put together. You know, so it's the one, my son's actually been using that one. He's been using that one the whole time on all his parties. So but I was at a party. I'm like, let me just try it. I didn't want to grab anything super heavy. Like for instance, I'm doing a wedding this weekend and they already have all the stuff, but I'm still going to bring my stuff because I don't trust anybody. Not bring my stuff, but like I'm going to bring my Performer. But I'm also going to bring my Rev 7 in a glide bag. And I'll use whichever one makes the most sense there. What camera? I always use the same camera, which is the Sony A7 IV. And now I don't even take it off of here because I use the DJI Pocket 3 for any time I'm out and about. It's been great. Yeah, the lightness is the key. It's the key. It really is. What about in Serato? In Serato, I'm only talking about in DJ. Serato doesn't have delay. DJ doesn't have delay on certain things. It's just, there's just a delay. It's a slight delay in DJ. There's a delay in the Rain 4 too. Okay, so maybe it's a Rain thing. I mean, and considering that the Rain 4 is pretty much just the infant version of the Rain Performer, maybe that's what's going on. Interesting. Because I don't have a delay. You know what? Where is my Rev 7? It's at the office. I need to try it before I finish up on my review of DJ. I need to try it on there too, just to make sure I'm I'm not going crazy. I'm trying to think if there's anyway, we could talk about this forever. I've chalked it up to my bad timing. I'm on if I try to cut the acapella on the first beat, the first attack of the beat. Yeah. I mean, if you're using Serato, it's instantaneous, like acapella, but not in DJ. Joey McDonald in the building. What is going on? You're getting close to the end. I need to shower and eat before I have to get on my 1 o'clock call. Mixmatch says Hercules T7 with Mac Mini M4 and touchscreen for the win. There you go. There you go. Not mad at that. Not mad at that. Although my Hercules T7 has issues. One of my jogs has a serious delay. It's not even the jog. It's the pitch fader. The pitch faders don't run equally. So if I set them both to 0, one's moving like a good 2 to 4 beats faster. I can work around it, but it's annoying as hell. So I technically stopped using it. That's why I'm waiting on a T7 Pro. Would you believe an influencer once said not to play whole songs? That influencer sounds amazing. You should absolutely listen to that influencer. He is not wrong. I'm about to follow him right now. Okay. Problem is I've had them overheat during the summer where I had to back off or even give them time to cool down only on really hot days, gigs, or daytime blow. Gotcha. Case. God, don't go away. Oh, that's weird. Steve Ray says, I love my RCF Evox 8s for weddings, 120 and under. My DB 1203s for 175 and under. Anything bigger, I use my cheapest system Alto. So yeah, I mean, I'm the same way. If somebody told me they have 300 people, I'm bringing the SRX 900s subs or the 828 sub. And I'll probably go with the 900s. The 900s and the 828 sound very, very close. The problem with the 828 is very simple. It's big. It's big. It's sometimes you don't have a place to put them. I know bass is omnidirectional, but still, it's a big ass speaker. Might have sold me on the 70s. The 70s are very interesting to me. I haven't done my 70 review yet because I used them over the weekend, and I was hoping to use them on this Sunday, but they got their own system. They still haven't told me what the system is. I got to push them on it because I really don't want to walk into a crappy system. This is a very high profile client, football player. Not going to say the name, but it's a football player. And let's just say they don't live in California. So, but they're like, we're bringing in everything. And I'm like, okay, I've seen when people say we're bringing in everything and it's not that good. Okay. So, here's my issue with this. Here's my issue with the 70s. Here's my issue with the 70s. The 90s are better. That's my issue with the 70s. So if you listen to, I don't mean Rain that way, V squared. I mean like the controllers. So if you've been listening to the 90s, like I have, and then you go to the 70s, it's different, but the same. Obviously, they're not going to be as loud. Obviously, the bass is not going to hit as hard, but it feels like they're not the same. Now, like I said, the 70s are a better version of the 44s. They're a better version of the 44s. And I'm really, really like locked into that now. You know, if you have 44s, I would tell anybody who has 44s, don't get the 70s. That's pointless. But if you have the 50s, absolutely get the 70s. You're going to see quite a bit of difference. The low and the low. Evie does this thing that I find really, really appealing. And however they have designed their cabinets and the speakers, they are very optimal range is like 5 to 10 feet. So you can literally push them right up to the edge of the dance floor, and they're going to sound amazing from standing right in front of them to standing, towards the back of the dance floor. The 50s, I noticed the throw was stupid. So you had to back up the 50s like 20 feet just to get them to be optimal in the middle of the dance floor. The 70s and the 90s corrected that issue with the 50s. So they sound good anywhere. If you're standing anywhere near them, they sound great. And they have a little bit of a fall off, so that bass is not going to just be ringing in people's ears at the table. So I'm fine with that. Obviously, you don't have to push as much with the 90s. And that's probably the hardest part of the 70s, is trying to determine how high of number you should go with them. The amount of people in the room. That's the biggest factor for me. I'm still trying to determine that. Definitely 150. I would say probably 170. I think it's pretty much the highest I would be comfortable without pushing them to where they're maxed out. And like I said, even the compression is good, but still, the 90s, absolutely 200 plus. Probably upwards of like 230, depending on the size of the room. So when I bring the wall, we always use the 90s, and the 90s, could be, the 90s will work with 150. They'll work with 200. So that's a good flexible thing. Anyway, but to each their own. It's definitely something I'm still spoiled on the 90s. But for most people, especially people that are using smaller column arrays, the 90s are going to be overkill for you. And the 90s are big. Like, I can still fit the 70s inside of my truck, inside of my F-150 with the tonneau cover on. And that's like a big deal for me. Can I close it up for security purposes? And I can still do that with the 70s. Can't do it with the 90s. So 70s and under. Yeah, exactly. T Diesel. This is 100% true. Don't want Windows to update. Swear to God. Looks like you'd be rocking a trailer. Anyway, let's see here. Okay, what do you think about the new Ape Labs PIX tubes? Are you going to review some, please? I will. I have this thing about tubes. I said this last week, so I'll say it again. My problem with any of these tube lighting, is I feel like it's a fad. I feel like it's a fad. Now, there's a place for them. I feel like if you take those tubes and you make designs like on the walls and all these things, and you got, all that stuff, like, that's cool. I'm cool with that. But I just feel like standing them up on a stand, and it feels like a fad to me. And nobody asks for them. Like, not one person asks for them. So, I know they just emailed me. I think they want me to review them. I'll grab some. I'll see. But they feel like a fad. Anyway. Have any of your opinions changed about the Rain 4? No. What I said about the Rain 4 was it's good. I know it had a lot of little nagging issues for me. I sent it back. If that answers your question, it wasn't the controller for me. The performer has been great. Fader's okay, but the performer's been great. And if somebody were to ask me, should I get a Rain 4 or should I get a performer? I'm like, well, if you don't care about weight, you get the performer and you don't think twice about it. The Rain 4 has had some technical problems over time, if we haven't noticed. So if I were to do another review today, I wouldn't suggest people buy a Rain 4. But that's based upon all the problems it's had. Okay. Okay. A couple more questions and I got to get out of here. A couple more questions. Let's go back up here. Okay, let's see here. This isn't wrong. Okay, especially some of these lights that are coming out. I'm like, some of these movers are insane. They're insane. Like, you think that looks good? Like, you came out with this. You know how many, look, I could be doing legitimately 30 reviews a month if I just took every piece of gear that somebody wants me to review on my channel. I grab it. I'm like, that's corny. I'm not reviewing that. A lot of these movers are horrible, horrible, horrible. Not reviewing it. Sorry. It sucks. Delete. Okay, T Diesel. I did an hour on my friend's Performer. I don't like how the echo on it sounds, and it just feels really cluttered compared to the Rev 7. Okay. What about both lighting? What about it? Guys, stop asking about, unless you're asking me about the Rain 1 MK2, I'm not going to compare it to a Performer. Okay, back to what I was saying to T Diesel, and I'll come back to your question. I agree. Rain makes very busy products. Okay. It's their design language that is just busy. However, once you use it, you can turn off things that you're not using. Like, for instance, the fourth and the third channel. I don't use them. I don't use them. The ones on the ends. So they might as well not even be there. Okay. The only reason why I prefer the Performer over the MK2, I don't use waveforms. I don't care about the waveforms in the jog wheels. I don't even use waveforms in my Rev 7. It's my logo in there. The only thing the Performer has over the MK2 that makes me want to keep the MK2, the Performer, sorry, is the OLED screens above the pads. They're so functional. Both lighting for uplights for the win. Okay. The OLED screens are they're so helpful. Depending on the pad mode, the screens will change. They'll tell you your samples, so you know exactly what's going on. They'll tell you what beats, like say if you use like an auto loop, it'll tell you what beat instead of you having to guess which beat it is. Like there's so many little, it really, really helps. So that's really the only reason. Okay. Back to both lighting for a minute. We can use the same line array, column array analogy. Okay. I'm going to say this, and this doesn't mean that I think that an influencer or whomever or the product or anything is bad. Okay. I'm going to say that right now, but I'm going to say this. There's nothing special about both lighting. There's nothing special about both lighting. Does not mean it's bad. Does not mean it's good. But there's nothing special coming out of both lighting. So every time I see these both lighting, oh my God, there's nothing special about both lighting. There's nothing that both lighting is doing differently than a lot of other Chinese manufacturers out there. That's all I will say. But I'm not on the bandwagon. I'm not on the bandwagon. And again, I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with them. They're fine. But people are like, you got to take back all your lights and get both. No, I don't. I don't. Because there's nothing special about them. Okay. We'll take your argument there. Hold on. Because I can grab. They're not in here. What am I thinking of? Small is a relative term. I can grab an Ape Labs. I can grab the Ape Labs. I can grab the what's the black ones I just reviewed? The ones with the movers. Why can't I think of the name right now? It's a mixware company. What is it? Not me having to go to my own YouTube channel to find out the light that I'm talking about here. Videos. Color key. The new color key the new color key uplights, I showed them on here. Those are fantastic too. And they're small. What I'm saying to you is, there's nothing special about both lighting. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Now, again, and this isn't if you use both lighting, I'm sure they're great. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's just like, but the marketing and the influencer marketing around both lighting is insane. That's all I'm saying. B-Topper makes some great lights. 740s. Are those the BIs? I always forget the numbers by them. Is that the one that I reviewed? Because if it is, yeah. Okay. So the BIs. So I was using, I mean, obviously I used them. I reviewed them. I said they were good. And then I was trying to figure out what my maximum setup was going to be. Okay. Like what my normal, because the problem with being me is I have access to so many things. My product, not my product, but like my visuals and everything were suffering because I kept grabbing everything. And I'm like, you know what? I need to settle upon something. Okay. And I ended up settling, and I use the color keys too. Right. But if I'm in a room where I'm using like, my Humpter stands and I only have area for just 2 movers, it's the LM0740s all day, every day. The amount of light they put out, and it's basically essentially wash lighting. But once you get into the nitty gritty and you can adjust the beam, because it starts out like, small little beam like this. But once you adjust it where it opens up and closes, and then you start messing with that so it slows down, it just becomes a big ass wash light. And no matter where it's shooting, here, if it's shooting here, there's still light hitting people here. So a lot of people are like, well, you should run your movers upside down, or they need to be they need to be far back, or they need to be on a higher stand. I don't have to do those with the B-Toppers. I don't. There's so much light coming out of them. So that is legitimately, that is my go-to light. Those are on every party I bring with me. Every party. No complaints. Let's see here. Yeah, I should probably, you know what I'll do? I will do a video in July about, what is the stuff that I still use. I will do a review in July, because I think people always ask, like the one thing that a lot of people ask me all the time. So you still using your Humpter stands? I'm like, hell yes, I am. They're amazing. Oh, they're so expensive. I don't care. I mean, I care, but the simple fact is, if the price was removed, and I know price is a huge factor, I use this on a lot of other things, but I have not found a stand that is as good as the Humpter stand. Not one. I've not found a stand. So I still use my Humpters. Okay. So this Stevie Ray. I shouldn't have done I did legs today. So they're starting to cramp up. There's a reason that Chauvet doesn't send me gear. Because I told on a video that Chauvet and ADJ get their lights from the same place. And they flipped off. I saw that knockoff stand. They look heavy as hell. I did see it. So I would need to really see them up close and personal. Because you know, here's the problem with a lot of knockoffs. Like, okay. Like, you know, the Chauvet flex stand. I've tried knockoffs that aren't the Chauvet flex stand. And they don't do as well. They don't hold as well. Sometimes they don't go up as high. So it's like I need to see them in real life. But if they are and they're 900, and because I need a black pair. So I'd absolutely buy a knockoff for 900 if they were close to the Humpter stands. But that Humpter quality is really good. I can't lie. It's really good. I have a Rev 7. Do you need to use a mixer for private gigs? No, you don't need to use a mixer at all if you don't want to. Private gigs, public gigs, doesn't matter. Now I will say this, and the reason why I say this is because the Rev 7 has it has good sound coming out of it. If you were trying to use like a SX2, I'd probably say use another mixer because the sound coming out of that is not good. But the Rev 7 has great sound. The Performer has great sound coming out of it. But there is a value in a mixer. There's a value. I mean, when I do the LED wall, so I have control over the audio, I run everything to me. And I can make the argument that a standalone mixer makes it sound better is a misnomer. Okay. If anybody tells you that, that's a flat out lie. It's not a lie. It's a simplification of the truth. Because all of these speakers, all these column arrays, even the highs and point source, they all have mixers inside of them. So it would be smarter to just adjust it from inside so it's always the same. It's yours. But what's good about a mixer is having that 3-band EQ, being able to quickly make an adjustment to sound without having to go to each speaker and change it. But most importantly, the most important part, if some shit goes down, you can have a backup playing audio out of it. You can, like, I have the Mackie Pro FX Go, right? Love that mixer. Besides the fact that there's no channel faders, but besides that, love that mixer. And I just programmed I programmed the Bluetooth. I just paired my Bluetooth with the mixer. We were setting up for a wall, and we were putting the speakers up, and the DJ wasn't there yet. He hadn't brought his controller, but I was just on my phone, and I went to just hit something. The sound was coming out of the speakers. I hadn't even turned it on and done anything. The sound was just coming out of both speakers. I was like, that's what you want. Good backup. Good backup. My Flex 10 active stems only work temporarily and make scratchy sounds. Any reason? Yes. The reason is chances are your computer is not strong enough to run them at whatever buffer you're running them at. I'm going to put that. The Flex 10 out of all the controllers seems to use more resources. So go into your buffer if you're using like Serato, and then bump that buffer up, try 1 hatch first. And then I'm scratching my ear. Anyway, try 1 hatch first and then see if it improves. Okay. Callow in the building. What's going on? Do you hook your DMX lights up to the DJ controller? No. I hook it up to the DMX controller. Is that what you meant? Is that what you meant? Gain changing is a +2. Absolutely. I give you that. But that's also kind of, that's a given. You should know gain staging if you're bringing in a mixer. You know what I mean? Like, that's a given. No, Chevet speaks to me. They do. Like, I have a good relationship with Jeff at Chevet. He's their marketing manager. But doesn't change the fact that they don't send me a lot of product. Like, at all. And I'm okay with it. And to be fair, I'm really okay with it. That's what the DMX controller is for, Patrick. Now, if you're asking me, do I run audio out of my speakers into it? Not really. I mean, that's the DMX typically have microphones in them, so I can pick it up from there. But yeah, I could go direct out of like the RCAs. You said, I said the gig bar move ILS was good. I did not say the gig bar move was good. Just remember that. The gig bar move ILS was, because at the time I was using the JMAS light bar. And you know what? I used the JMAS light bar when I was in Arizona. That's what they had, and I was using it. It's still a good light. If they didn't make the DMX so insane, I would be using that all the time. But it's too hard. It's everything's a DMX channel. Everything. Like, their DMX was like, it's like 80 channels. Like, it's insane. Okay. And I'm not talking, like, at least with like the ILS, you have different versions. You have, like, I think it starts off with like 3 channels, which is like on and off. I mean, essentially, right? Blackout. And then it goes from 3 to I think 30, and 30 is good. And then they have one that's like 55. Nobody needs to use that one. So I use the 31. But the difference was the JMAS had stronger movers. The regular version, non-ILS version of the gig bar, their movers are weak as hell. And I just don't like them. Yeah, they have interchangeable effects, but it doesn't matter if you change them, and you still got to program them through 90 channels. Like, that's the problem. They needed to simplify it, and they made it really too complicated. Like, if you use the remote, you're fine. But if you want to DMX them, it's really complicated. This is what I'll say about Chevet. Chevet, I like what Chevet does, and there's something to be said about having a consistent line for like years, right? You know what you're going to get. You know, you're going to open it up. You're going to go to mover number 2, and it's going to give you, you know, the little like star one. Cool. Great. Everybody wins. But I don't want to see the same gobos legitimately 20 years later. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see them old ass gobos. Now they just look old. So Chevet is in deep need of gobo image updates. That's it. But I will say this. I mean, we have an ILS truss, and it's got swarms, color washes, one of the lasers, and we have the free 70s movers. And that's a good truss. That's a good truss. It's essentially, I mean, it's so dumbed down. All my DJs can use it, but it's great. It's great. It is great. Thank you, Patrick, for the coffee. I appreciate that. Yeah, every dime goes to my daughter's bat mitzvah. Every dime. So thank you so much. I'm considering taking the derbies off my gig bar and putting my Watch Effects 2 in their place. I don't see anything wrong with that. If you can make it happen, make it happen. The Watch Effects 2, I use the Watch Effects 2. I do. I use it underneath my gig bar ILS because the washes are just not bright enough in general. But if I put the wash 2 on there, it's like the perfect amount. So hopefully they do something like that for the next one. Okay. All right. I don't have an opinion. They both do. They're both very good. Bottom line. And they both have pluses and minuses. Okay. Like I love the OLED screen. I love, even though I don't use it, I love the ability to be able to do a stim split. That's a great little feature. However, Rev 7 has better effects. Pioneer in general has better effects. Rev 7 has the better crossfader. Oh, my nose is itching like crazy. Has the better fader. Rev 7 feels like 2 turntables and a mixer. The Performer is like a spaceship. But I rock the Rain Performer pretty much every weekend. It's in my furniture. So in the event they don't let me bring my furniture like this weekend, then I bring the Rev 7. But Rev 7 is still classic. I have the wind blowing and I don't know. I have this thing where if I like work out and then like I dry out, irritates my nose and makes it itch. Very weird. Very, very weird. Everybody's got their quirks. Okay. All right. I think I got a silent Q is the shit. Well, silent Q's on both of them. So that's moot. But yes, I love silent Q. What's the question you get most? You can scroll my comments and see from there. Do you sync your controller with DMX? No. Why do we keep asking about this? I'm confused. I mean, first off, you don't. The only controller that syncs is Sound Switch. That's the only syncable controller. Everything else is usually run by like Ableton Link and stuff like that. But yeah, Sound Switch is the only one that syncs to the music. But I mean, they already have syncing in there. I mean, I'm not going to do it because I don't have time because I got to go. And my nose is driving me crazy. And I don't want you guys to think like I'm a crackhead. So I'm getting off. I've not tried the Watch Effects ILS, but I probably will get one just to go along with my gig bar ILS. Because I still find that there's value in the gig bar. There's value in it. For those small parties, it's great. It's great. For the backyards, for the 75, like it's great. I don't have a problem with it. I use it all day. Besides Maestro 2. Correct, Kylie. It's big. It's a lot. And every single person that goes onto my Performer, they all do the same thing. They walk in and they go, like, dude, it's the same thing. Ignore the other 2 faders. Ignore them. It's the same thing. And then they get it. All right. I do have to run because I have to do all my stuff. Show control. Fine. You know what I'm saying. I'm talking about like, most people aren't using show control. Oh, okay. I got to run. My nose is driving me nuts. All right, y'all. Like I said, I got a big wedding over the weekend. I'm DJing. If you guys are local in Southern California, I'm DJing in Westlake Village at a place called Louie's, aka Bogies, on this Saturday. I'm closing night. Not closing night, but headliner, whatever. Anyway, I will be there. And Sunday I will be in Laguna Niguel doing this wedding. Hopefully I can get some pictures so I can post them because it's kind of cool. It's kind of cool. And I was really concerned. I'll tell you this real quick. So, you know, these kids all these sports people they're into very specific kind of music. And the planner sends me their playlist. And I'm like, oh, this is trash. especially for a wedding. You know, it's trash music, right? The brides, good. It's all R&B. Okay. But the groom, trash. I'm like, you're like you're listening to like 16-year-old music. Like, I get it. Anyway, I get on the call with them yesterday and I'm like, hey, I just want to make sure, you know, I got your playlist and everything. And, you know, am I stuck to this or can I play outside of this, and go from there? And, she's like, oh, no. That's just the music we listen to. I don't want that on my wedding. Like, thank God. Cause I was like, I do not want to do this wedding. Okay. Real quick. Rev 7 torque is not too weak. There's a couple of tricks. One, you can increase the torque from within the settings. And two, change your slip mats inside, and then it'll feel more like a turntable. But if you put the torque on high, I do not have a problem with the torque. The torque is a little higher on the Performer, a little higher, but it's negligible. Okay. How would I implement the swarm watch? I just put it underneath. I have a you know, a little thing, and I just put it on. That's my technical term. All right. I agree to this. Absolutely. All lighting should be battery powered now. I shouldn't have to plug in my lighting. That would, oh my God. I should have told you about the wall story we did. I don't have time now. I'll tell you next week. Just remind me about the wall. Anyway, I got to go because I got 2 minutes now. Great hanging with you guys as always. Thank you guys for your time. Have great parties. If you have parties this weekend, I will see you next. Ooh, when is next Saturday? Okay, next Saturday is the 3rd. I will see you on the 3rd. I will not see you on the 4th. And I'll tell you about all the stuff, hopefully. All right, guys, unless they didn't make me sign an NDA. So that's the first thing. So I'm happy about that. But I can't tell anything because I don't want anything popping up and it turns into a shit show and they blame me. All right, I will see you guys next week. Have great parties. Enjoy your weekend. Always a pleasure hanging out with you guys. I'll see you later. Peace out.